There's no law that prevents me from mentioning the name of who's been said to be the whistleblower. But there's also
convinced,
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand what prevents you from getting on the Senate floor where you're protected on all kinds of things and just giving a speech and saying what the guy's name is if you're convinced you know who it is.
No, I can, and I may, but I can do it right now if I want. Nothing stops me. There's no law that stops me from doing it. Other than that, I don't want to make it about the one individual.
Rand Paul doubling down on the president's demand that the whistleblower be publicly identified. Trump has launched this withering criticism of the whistleblower, whose account checks out, by the way, with the summary of the call that we've been allowed to see. Importantly, still no transcript. Not all Republicans are on board with the effort to unmask an official government whistleblower.
My own view is that whistleblowers, particularly those that are blowing whistles on action within the government, should be allowed to remain confidential, that they have a right to be private, and then the determination is made is what the whistleblower has spoken about, something which is confirmed by the facts or not. So going after the whistleblower, I think, is misdirected.
As our colleague Nicole Wallace always says, that's what Republicans used to sound like. The whistleblower's attorney had this warning today on social media, and we quote, "If Congress and others do not protect my client's anonymity, which my client is afforded to by law, not only does it jeopardize their safety, but it jeopardizes an entire system that took decades to build. It will destroy effective congressional oversight for years to come." With us tonight, Jonathan Lemire, White House reporter for the Associated Press. I'll ask you two blunt questions. Is this whistleblower thing just a giant distraction? And does Senator Rand Paul know better?
On the first part, the whistleblower thing is an effort to sort of revive a portion of the Mueller playbook. You might recall that part of the strategy employed by the president and his allies were to sort of question the integrity of the investigators, believing that if they undermine their credibility, that would undermine what the facts that they found. If you undermine the credibility of the investigators, you undermine the credibility of the investigation. So what they've been trying to do here, according to our reporting, is sort of make the whistleblower the face of this, or in this case, the anonymous face still, and suggest that this person, whose name, as Senator Paul has said, has circulated in some right-wing circles, but has not been publicized widely, is corroborated to be correct, is someone who had biases against the president. And therefore, he was biased. Therefore, the investigation is biased, which is they tried to do with the Russia probe as well, with Lisa Page and Peter Strzok and so on. As far as Senator Paul goes, I was in Kentucky last night when the senator appeared with the president at the rally for the gubernatorial candidate. And it does, as an aside, it looks like the president was not as successful dragging that candidate over the finish line to victory as he has been so far with Sean Spicer in each round of Dancing with the Stars. And Paul kind of, instead of touting the candidate, went here on the whistleblower thing. And it seems like he's fixating on it, doing the president's bidding, but to this point anyway, doesn't want to be the person to out him himself. And I'll say, as a last point, the West Wing staff has been saying the same thing to the president, who they are fearful at some point just might blurt it out or take to Twitter and say it. But Republicans on the Hill have also cautioned him that would spark a political firestorm.
I want to show you something. Our friend Morgan Radford talked to some Trump supporters in West Palm Beach, Florida. See if this checks against your experience.
Would you say you support the president now more or less than you did when he was first put into office?
Definitely more. Definitely more.
All of you say more. Has the impeachment inquiry affected your support of the president?
It made it stronger.
It made it stronger.
Much.
His opponents have made it their mission to fight him at every turn. And we can't have that.
It still makes me support him even more.
I think the Trump supporters dig their heels in on this.
Yeah.
It's just something we're all 100% behind the president, no doubt about it.
So, as you know, there are really two jury pools during an impeachment process: the American people, but more importantly, the U.S. Senate, 100 members who each get a vote. You were at the Trump rally last night in Kentucky. Does that jive with your experience?
Oh, his hardcore supporters are still with him, much like with the Mueller probe. They do believe, the party line, if you will, that this is a biased investigation. It's a witch hunt. It's a Democrats' effort to undo the 2016 election, even though, of course, Robert Mueller brought charges against dozens of people. Of course, so far, everything the whistleblower has said has been corroborated by testimony and including documents released by the White House. But their faith is not shaken. They are supporting their president. Now, through Republican senators, that might be a little different. To this point, most have absolutely stayed in lockstep, with a few voices like Mitt Romney saying that they want to be cautious. They've been disapproving of what the president has said.
That's
one, and maybe an occasional quizzical glance from Ben Sasse, but there's not much else so far. But we're still early enough in the process where things could change. But let's remember, this is a party where the president enjoys 85, 90% approval rating among Republicans. These senators, especially those up for re-election soon, know that if they were to cast a ballot, a vote to remove him, the very next day there'd be a MAGA-endorsed candidate ready to primary them. And we had Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell today say that if the vote was held, there would be no chance of removal.
You get the last word on that topic. Jonathan Lemire of the Associated Press. Always appreciate you coming by. Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.